Hey friends, it's been a long time and it's nice to be here. I hope that everyone has been doing well. I have been doing very well, and I thought that I'm not going to start, or spend too much time on explaining where I've been or why it took so long for me to make a video. But I will just quickly say that summertime here in Finland, especially when it gets really warm and hot, it can be overwhelming, at least for someone like me. And it was just so super hot here all the time, basically in the summertime, that I just had absolutely no energy to make videos, and even though I would have wanted to do so. And then it's easy to postpone things and such. But I still, I've been focusing on other things as well, but also, of course, fragrances are always there and big part of my life and my days and all that. So I thought that I will do this kind of like fall selection list, basically, that includes 11, in my eyes, really fantastic fragrances. And rules are very simple with me, or when I do these kinds of videos, my only basically rules are that I need to have, they need to be something that I have a bottle of. And also, I just simply enjoy these fragrances. I don't have that big of collection anymore that I can, include, for example, one fragrance per each house. There is actually, for example, 3 fragrances from YSL in here. And they all just have to be something that I love. And if I own a bottle of perfume, it means that I enjoy it and I love it. So those are basically the way how I approach this list. Some of these fragrances are discontinued. There's niche, there's vintage fragrances, all that. To me, it's all perfume, and it doesn't matter. If something is discontinued, it doesn't make or mean that the fragrance is somehow instantly better than something that you can still find from the stores. So those are basically my rules. And other than that, I think that I will start the list. Hopefully you enjoy the video, and hopefully there is also going to be something at least a little bit different than you usually see here in YouTube in these kinds of like fall selection lists. First fragrance that I want to talk about is Balenciaga Pour Homme. I would be lying if I say that this has always been something that I love and enjoy. I've struggled quite a lot with this fragrance. This is probably a fragrance that I've struggled the most, because I've wanted to love it so badly, so many times. My first bottle I bought like over 10 years ago. And there's always something that I feel that is just a little bit too pungent in here for me personally. It has every element, all the elements in here that I should kind of love this fragrance, but it's never been like that to me. I do enjoy this, and I do appreciate this a lot. But there is still, especially the first 30 minutes around that time, is a bit too pungent and sharp to me. It has this kind of, overall to me, this is a very complex fragrance, so it's really hard to understand it, at least for me. There is something like cinnamon, and I'm not even sure if I can smell this, because it has this overall very kind of chalky, powdery, slightly weird, powdery, honeyed, like I said, that kind of chalky smell to it, which is animalic. It's quite like almost pissy and musky to me. It's sharp. There's a lot of like spices in here as well, and something like earthy tones like patchouli, and it has this kind of aromatic, soapy quality to it. There's basically everything that you can imagine, and so many things that shouldn't work together. And in my eyes, at least, there is also part of it that doesn't work as well as I would have hoped always. But there is something really fascinating about this as well. So it kind of makes me attached to it, and I want to. I've been wearing this a lot, and like I said, I've had multiple bottles of this, so I'm very well aware how this smells like. But I still find it interesting how much it challenges me, and every single time when I wear it now, it feels that I understand it slightly better all the time. So Balenciaga Pour Homme, good fragrance, but I'm still trying to get friends with it closer way, I would say. I mean, not closer. That sounds strange. Let's forget that. Next one is Bottega Veneta, and this is Pour Homme Extreme. This whole line is great in my opinion. I'm not sure if there is only the original EDT that is nowadays anymore available. At least this one is discontinued and the Perfume is discontinued. They all are quite similar, but at the same time I feel that they all are different enough. And I think that the Extreme is my favorite because it has mostly of this kind of like piney freshness to it. This is quite leathery fragrance that has a little bit this kind of rugged, spicy leather smell to it, but at the same time, like I said, there is piney element in here, and in here it's much more present, I would say. So it has this really nice like almost peppery, piercing piney freshness to it, alongside with that leathery undertone that this dries into, basically. Very, in my eyes at least, it's a very kind of masculine smelling fragrance that makes me feel great when I wear it. And not the most longest lasting, I would say, but still, for me personally, it doesn't matter at all. It's just wonderful stuff. Next is Yves Saint Laurent Rive Gauche, and this is the EDT or Eau de Toilette Intense version. I think that personally, any Rive Gauche would do and is great. This to me is, damn, it's the pinnacle of like men's well-groomed barbershop style of a fragrance, I would say. Even though I might even prefer the original EDT slightly, this is really great as well. It's just as it says, it's more intense, and what I mean by that, at least to me, it's more, has this kind of deep spiciness to it as well, and it has more of these kind of earthy tones, especially something like patchouli. But it still manages to be fresh, has the barbershop quality to it with aromatic notes, very herbal. And yeah, actually the herbal aspect is also something that is just a bit more intense in here. So especially when you spray it, it can be not harsh, but it's definitely more herbal than the original, in my opinion. The original is a little bit more like minty and mentholated, and this one is, it has this, what I consider as just darker herbal quality to it. But it's awesome, in my opinion. Next one is another classic from 1993. This is Givenchy and Insense. I'm not sure if I say it correctly, but you get the point. It's this one. And again, a very interesting fragrance. Really good, in my opinion, if you wear it correctly. And at least based on my experience, what I mean by that is just that if I spray more than 4 sprays, this becomes overwhelming, and I don't like it. It starts to give me almost headache and turns into opposite rather than something that I enjoy. So if I keep the sprays somewhere between 2 and 4 sprays, I actually really enjoy this fragrance. Many people seem to say that this is more like some kind of like spring type of a perfume, and I mean, they are not wrong, but it's surprisingly strong. So for me personally, it works also really well in the fall season. To me, it's very, like, there's soapy element to it as well. It's very floral, but also it has this kind of almost waxy and balmy kind of floral tone to it, I would say. Very oily as well. I try to give you an example. What I mean is that if you have flowers or some kind of flower and you rip those flowers off from there, or the leaves, your fingers usually might get some kind of like slightly oily from the flowers. Your fingers become slightly oily and waxy from there. To me, it has this kind of element that Insense is also having in here. So just something to keep in mind. Personally, I really like this stuff. I think that it works really well in the fall season as well, and it's just beauty. Next one is Tuscan Leather by Tom Ford. I used to love this long time ago. Then all the clones and all the inspired fragrances were popping out everywhere, and I personally started to get annoyed by that. I still am, because many people says that, you know, something like Yucca Warm is better than this one. I mean, of course, if it's their honest opinion, by any means, it's nothing away from me, and who am I to say that they are not? That's not true. But personally, for me, just Tuscan leather is honestly the best in this kind of style. Like I said, each to its own. I'm not arguing with anyone who has different taste, but it kind of like circle has been closed for me with this one. That like I said, first I loved this, then I got a little bit annoyed and bored by the popularity of it, and nowadays I can say that this is honestly a really, really great. And I even might prefer these slightly more recent and current versions of this, because they are a little bit more easier, they are not as harsh, and they are a bit more brighter, and the older versions used to be very, very intense, and I actually like the fact that this is slightly more toned down, but it still smells like Tuscan leather to me, and I think that it's gorgeous. Number 6. This is Guerlain Habit Rouge EDP. And compared to the EDT, this is just a little bit more sweeter. It's not like really sweet. It's not as sweet as the Habit Rouge Perfume, for example, is. But it just has a little bit more this kind of sugary, candied, lemony feel that smells a little bit like lemony lollipop to me, almost. I don't mean it in a bad way, that it smells honestly like that you would smell like candy, but it has a little bit of that kind of feel compared to the original, at least in my opinion. Otherwise, it has also that really nice vanilla, that's slightly leathery and musky undertone to it, and just making sure that it stays really elegant and classy. It's just, I feel personally that it fits really nicely into this fall season because of that slightly more, not gourmandish feel, but just a little bit more sweeter elements probably are more present in here in this version. Let's move forward. Yves Saint Laurent M7. If I'm correct, I think that this is the very, very first formulation of it, and it smells really nice. It can be a little bit boring to me, honestly, at times, because it doesn't change very much. So there is that part that sometimes when I'm wearing it, I'm not overly excited about it. But at the same time, there are also, most of the time I really enjoy this, because this overall has this orangey, dry, a little bit like roasted, little bit smoky wood smell to me, and that's how it mostly smells like. It has a bit of almost like cola vibe to it as well, or some kind of like really dark chocolatey feel to it, how the woody element of this smells like. At least that's how I see it, and I really like the orangey element in here, because it just makes a little bit of it gives this kind of like chewy, orangey feel to it, because otherwise this is a very, very dry smelling fragrance. And like I said, that it can get slightly boring occasionally, but I think that it's still a really nice fragrance, and it has its moments, I would say, and I think that it fits really well into this fall season. Next one is Royal Oud by the House of Creed. This is quite recent version of this as well. I bought this actually this year, and I have to say that I prefer this version to older ones. I used to have like 2013 or 12 bottle, and as with many fragrances, especially nowadays, I guess that it's somehow that my taste is changing also a little bit, that I prefer the wearability and just fragrances that I can see myself wearing a lot. I prefer them over the ones that are a little bit more maybe not artistic or challenging, but are maybe not as wearable. Even though Royal Oud has never been very unwearable to me, but I hope that you understand what I mean, that I just like the slightly more fresh elements, for example, in this version more. And it's not a weak perfume by any means, in my opinion at least. Overall, very kind of peppery, sawdusty wood smell. Goes into the same category, or these two goes into the same category, even though they smell different, but both are very woody, dry, slightly spicy smelling fragrances that smells honestly like the best kind of wood smell that you can think of. Cedar, and this has actually more oud in it, in my opinion, than Royal Oud has. 3 more left. This is my... First of all, I really love these Emporio. I love these old Emporio Armani bottles that they are not making anymore. I think that they should bring these back. These are really awesome. And honestly, the sprayers are really good with these as well. I've always... I never had any issues with the sprayers. But this is Emporio Armani Night for Him. And the reason why I smile when I talk about this and when I smell this, I really like the smell as well. But this is probably one of my most nostalgic fragrances ever, because this came out, if I remember correctly, 2003. And I remember that it was that year when it came out, when I bought this, and I used to wear this a lot. And I even remember those moments so vividly when I was wearing this, and maybe those memories makes this slightly better than it is. But honestly, even though it's been 22 years since I bought this and I wore this, and obviously I was much younger then, I still think that this, I still like to wear this. It's not that juvenile, even though it's a little bit as well. It's not, it is a little bit easygoing fragrance, but still so nice to wear. I'm getting closer to 40 years old and I have absolutely zero issues wearing this. I would prefer, personally, again, this over any of those current Armani Stronger With You and endless flankers of Acqua di Gio and all that. So personally, for me, this is great. It goes into the same category as something like Emporio Armani Louis, Armani Code, Armani Mania. It has the same kind of like slightly earthy, woody, very soft dough, and very kind of consumer-friendly kind of earthiness and deep darkness to it as well. But it has this kind of like patchouli, darker woody tone to it. A lot of powdery elements, like I said. There's something probably like iris, but many, a lot of tonka, little bit of citrus in here as well. Just smells very kind of smooth, velvety. Like I said, quite easygoing, and honestly, I don't know. I just really like this. I think that the name is really nice, Night. I think that it's a great fragrance that you can wear in the evening as well. And like I said, I really like the bottle, and it has a lot of. It's a very meaningful fragrance for me. Let's put it that way. Sorry for a slight struggle, but I almost got slightly emotional with this fragrance. My mind started to go all those like house parties and all that we used to have as teenagers. I'm not sure if people do that anymore. I hope that they do, but we used to have those a lot when our parents went somewhere and the house was empty, and we used to have nice parties in there with our friends. Next one, YSL Opium pour Homme. Such a great fragrance. Honestly, I absolutely love this, and I feel sad that it's still available, but nobody talks about this. Everybody, or most people, talks about Myself and Why and all those fragrances. Yeah, I mean, it has been reformulated. This is actually, I think that this is 1999 or 2000 bottle, if I remember correctly. So obviously it is a little bit different, and I would, with this fragrance particularly, I would definitely recommend trying to find an older version of this, either Sanofi or Parfums Corp versions. Based on my own experience, I've tried pretty much all of those versions, and I feel that there is difference, and it's worth spending a little bit more, because you get this really nice, I mean, obviously there is a lot of that kind of citrusy anisey kind of top notes in there that is just fresh and really kind of herbal way aromatic, but you get that really nice ambery, slightly boozy vanilla with this one, even with the EDT, and it's just really nice. I find this to be it's something that I like to wear with when I'm a little bit more dressed up and all that. So personally, it just shines the best when you are properly in line with the style of this perfume. And lastly, I'm not even sure if I actually said that this is the EDT particularly. There is also EDP, or used to be EDP, but That's long gone, but it's still also a great version. But EDT is really great in my opinion as well. And lastly, Lorenzo Villoresi, and this is Musk EDT. Also came out in the same year as Opium, so 1995, both of these. And Musk is fantastic. It's honestly my favorite from Lorenzo Villoresi. And I like that it has a little bit of that kind of older vintage style to it, or that kind of fragrance style, because it's quite floral. It has a rosiness to it as well, but mostly, like it says, it's musk, and it is this kind of clean white smelling musk to me. It's not an animalic musk or anything like furry or anything like that. It's just clean, powdery, little bit sweet. I mentioned the rosiness, but the rosiness is also, it's very soft. It almost has this like slightly sweet, more of like some kind of like maybe pink rose than anything like jammy, really dark or deep rose. No, nothing like that. It has a little bit of that kind of like sweeter, powdery, rosy element to it, which is probably also one thing that makes it a little bit more, that has a little bit of older style to it. It's also very creamy. It has this really nice sandalwood accord in here, and it has a little bit of barbershop kind of style to it, probably because of the creamy sandalwood. That makes me also think of like foamy, like barbershop experience or something like that. Also, it's very unisex as well. I know that many women also likes to wear this, and personally I think that this is just a very also elegant and classy smelling fragrance, and it definitely stands out. I'm not sure if you can see, I've actually worn this a lot, and I used to wear this. No, you can probably see. I wore this also in the summertime quite a lot, this summer, for example. So yeah, you definitely stand out with this fragrance compared to all kinds of like citrusy, sparkling, fresh fragrances. So this to me is just giving something a little bit more different, and does that really, really well. All right, 11 fragrances. Actually, that's pretty much it. This is my favorite season. I really like, I could have chosen so many other fragrances in here as well, because so many fragrances fits this particular season so well, but this time these will have to do. Hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching, and until next time, bye.